Hello, my name's Nigel Ivey. I'm an elopement videographer based in Ireland. Thank you for visiting my channel. This channel is for couples who are eloping and who've made that decision to elope, and I hope that it's a valuable resource base of information for you as you are on that journey of trying to figure out what you want to do and you're building your dream elopement. And so on this channel you'll find things like how-tos, tips and tricks. I want to help you on how do you choose a location for your elopement, what are the things you need to think about, how do you choose people to be a part of it, how do you choose your elopement team, what do I need to think about in order to elope and have the best experience. So I'm all about helping couples to have dream elopement experiences, and that's what I work towards. I work with couples not just capturing their elopement on film and making awesome timeless films for them, but I also help them on the journey. I want them to have the best experience, so I help them with the planning, timeline planning, finding the right vendors, all of those different things. So if you're interested in chatting to me, then send me a DM, even if it's just to ask me questions, advice, all of those sort of things. I'd love to help you, and I'd love to see you have the best experience possible as you plan your dream elopement. So in this video we're going to be looking at the question of, I've just got engaged, I want to elope, what do I do now? So this is a question that I get sometimes, and often I find people, they just get engaged, they love the idea and the romance of eloping, and they want to figure out, what do I do, what do I need to think about, how do I choose where to go, all of those sort of things. So I want to cover some of those topics in this video here. So the first thing I would think about is kind of what type of elopement do you want? So do you want a landscape, sort of wild, remote, adventurous elopement, or do you want a city-based elopement? And I guess those are kind of the two options that you really have to choose from. And it's not to say that you have to have one or the other. I've mentioned in previous videos, when you're trying to pick a venue and a location for your elopement, you could go somewhere that's picturesque, landscape, awesome, epic, and tap into going into a beautiful city with a lot of history and stuff like that as well. So it's not to say that you have to have one or the other, but the first thing I would think about is, what type of elopement do you want? So let's just say you want an elopement that is epic with grand views in a beautiful location, landscape, you want to hike, you want to go to somewhere remote, you want it to be beautiful. So that's awesome. Use that as a starting block. The next thing is, where do you live? What's close to you, and where do you really want to go in the world? So if you don't like traveling, then obviously look local and find somewhere awesome local. And in most places you can find somewhere pretty epic for an elopement, and you don't have to go too far. It's drivable distance, all of that sort of stuff. If you like flying and if you like traveling, then the world's your oyster. You could literally choose anywhere that takes your fancy, that's within your budget, that looks awesome, that's you, that fits, you could choose it. So let's just say you're based in the US, you love the idea of the Faroe Islands, and you choose that as the location for your elopement. So that's great, you've got that chosen. The next thing is, I would try and figure out, who do you want as part of your team, your elopement team, to help you deliver that. So obviously there's a bunch of different options that you have in terms of vendors, suppliers, all the kind of people that can help you with the process of eloping. Some people offer different things, but I would then prioritize what's important to you. So if you are not that bothered about imagery, then put that lower down on your list and put the stuff that's high priority for you at the top of your list. So a lot of couples, the really important thing is that they want awesome video and photos. And it kind of makes sense, especially if they're doing stuff in remote places, beautiful, where there's lots of landscape. They want somebody to capture the grandeur and just make something epic for them. And so often couples will kind of plan around the photographer and videographer that they want involved in their elopement experience. And often photographers and videographers involved with elopements will help with the planning and the guiding side of things as well. So that's what I do. A lot of the photographers that I work with do the same. And so pick the vendors based on the priority that you have that are available for your date. And so often, in terms of being available for your date, often that's kind of a work in progress where you're working with them to figure out a date. And I've mentioned this before, but the beautiful thing with elopements is that you have that flexibility of, okay, well, here's a window of like 3 weeks or whatever the case is that I could elope. Are any of these dates good for you? And obviously if there's travel involved and all of those sort of things, it just helps to be a bit more flexible on all sides in terms of planning and picking a date. So find the vendors that you want involved, pick them, book them, make sure that they're secure on the date that you want to elope. And once you've got your suppliers involved and your date set, at that point you can then start getting into the logistics and booking the finer details. So your flights, car hire, accommodation, restaurant bookings, all of those different things. And then you can start getting into even more detail of what you're going to wear, what your dress is going to look like, what your rings look like, all of those different things, your accessories, all that stuff. And as you get into all of that, remember to plan for whatever the location is that you are eloping to. So Faroe Islands, as our example previously, remember to pack warm. Make sure you have stuff that looks awesome, that you're happy with having in your photographs, but pack as warm as possible. So if you can, wear some thermal insulation underneath your dress and your suit if you can. Get some of those chemical hand warmers to warm your hands up and to put inside your pockets or wherever the case is. Obviously read the instructions, make sure that it's okay, but get some of those, because those are a lifesaver when you're trying to keep warm and you're moving to from location to location and it's freezing cold and all those sort of things. And obviously vice versa, if the destination is hot, then plan around that. So obviously you don't want to have a suit that's made for like North America in the winter, somewhere like Chicago, so like a wool suit or something that's a bit thicker. If you're eloping in Santorini midsummer where it's like nearly 100 degrees, you want to be wearing a cotton suit that's light colored, light just in terms of how it feels and the thickness and stuff. And you want to have shoes that are appropriate as well, maybe some loafers or something like that. Obviously it just depends on how much walking you're doing and all of those sort of things, but these are all the kind of details that you need to be thinking about. And often your photographer or videographer can help with these sort of details as well, and most of them that are good at what they do will have this sort of information available to you that will help you out as well. I certainly do on this channel. There's a bunch of info around all of those sort of things, planning and resources and stuff. On my website I have the same, and I work with couples on the process. So once they've secured their date, chosen their location, got me booked, that we then work out the details of, okay, what do we need? Let's look at the timeline, let's look at the weather, all of those sort of things. I give them advice and help them on that journey in order to make it the best experience, because the last thing you want is to get somewhere like the Faroe Islands. You want awesome photos, so you want to be like just in your suit or in your dress, but it's freezing cold, so you're just like not enjoying it because you're just so cold. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for those sort of situations. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. As I mentioned, there's a bunch of other videos on this channel that might be useful for you. I hope you have the best time planning your elopement and that this is the best experience. And I hope that you have your dream elopement that you've always wanted. And as I mentioned, if you're interested in chatting to me, even if it's just for advice and tips and tricks and how do I do these things, then send me a DM, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. And obviously if you want me a part of your elopement, I'd love that too. But otherwise, thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye.